Imagine you're standing at the edge of a cliff. Below you isn't the ocean, but the wreckage of every person who thought they were smarter than the game. People with PhDs, CEOs with seven-figure bonuses, men who could calculate the trajectory of a rocket, but couldn't calculate their own greed. They didn't fall because they lacked intelligence. They fell because they lacked a soul. Most of us are living in a quiet state of panic. You wake up, you check a number on a screen, and you feel a tightening in your chest. You've been told that if you just work harder, if you just learn that one secret strategy, or if you find the right stock, the panic will stop. But it never does. The truth is, you are being lied to. We treat money like physics, governed by cold, hard rules and formulas. But money isn't physics. It's a messy, emotional, deeply flawed human behavior. It's more like psychology. It's more like a war between who you are and who you want the world to think you are. Right now, you are likely playing a game you don't understand, with rules you didn't write, chasing a prize that won't actually make you happy. You're running a race on a treadmill that someone else is powering. If you don't stop to understand the invisible strings pulling your hands every time you open your wallet, you will spend your entire life as a slave to a ghost. This isn't about spreadsheets. It's about the stories we tell ourselves at 3 a.m. It's about why a janitor can die with $8 million in the bank while a high-flying Harvard executive goes bankrupt. If you want to survive what's coming, you have to stop looking at the numbers and start looking in the mirror. There is a gap between what makes sense and what feels right. Most people spend their lives trying to bridge that gap with logic. They fail. The world of finance is littered with the corpses of rational people. These are the people who did everything right on paper and still lost everything. Because on paper, there is no such thing as fear. On paper, there is no such thing as ego. We need to wake up to a different reality. Success with money has very little to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. Genius is the man who can do the average thing when everyone else around him is going crazy. This is the decoding of the human heart in the face of greed, luck, and risk. This is the psychology of your survival. Think about Ronald Read. He was a gas station attendant and a janitor. He lived a quiet life in a small town. When he died at 92, the world was shocked to find he had $8 million in savings. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't have a secret inheritance. He just saved what he could and let the earth spin. Now look at Richard Fuscone. Harvard-educated, Merrill Lynch executive, a titan of the industry. He was so successful he expanded a 18,000 square foot home with 2 swimming pools and a $14,000 monthly maintenance bill. He went bankrupt in the same year Ronald Read was being celebrated as a folk hero. How does a janitor outperform a Harvard MBA? In what other field is that even possible? You can't be a better surgeon than a trained doctor by just being patient. You can't build a better bridge than an engineer by just being calm. But with money, behavior trumps skill. We judge our own financial decisions based on our personal history. If you grew up when inflation was high, you see the world differently than someone who grew up during a bull market. You aren't being stupid. You're being human. You are operating based on a unique set of scars. The first step to freedom is admitting that you don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. Stop trying to be rational. Start trying to be reasonable. Rational is a cold machine. Reasonable is a person who can sleep at night. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalposts to stop moving. Think about the men who have everything. The billionaires who risk their reputation and their freedom for just a little bit more. Why? Because they are playing a game of social comparison that has no ceiling. Capitalism is a master at 2 things, generating wealth and generating envy. If you base your success on how much more you have than your neighbor, you have already lost. There will always be a bigger boat. There will always be a more expensive watch. If you don't know what enough is, you will eventually push until you break. You will risk what you need for something you only want. That is the definition of insanity. Happiness is just results minus expectations. If your expectations grow faster than your income, you will never be rich, no matter how many zeros are in your bank account. The most powerful way to grow your wealth isn't to increase your earnings. It's to lower your ego, money's greatest intrinsic value, and this is the part everyone misses, is its ability to give you control over your time. Being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want. That is the highest dividend money pays. It's not the car. It's not the house. It's the silence of a Tuesday morning when you don't have to answer to anyone. When you see someone driving a $200,000 car, you rarely look at the driver and think, wow, that guy is cool. Instead, you imagine yourself in the driver's seat and think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I was cool. This is the man in the car paradox. You use wealth as a signal to others that you should be liked and admired. But those other people aren't looking at you. They are using your wealth as a benchmark for their own desire to be liked and admired. True wealth is what you don't see. It's the cars not purchased, the diamonds not bought, the upgrades declined. Wealth is the option not yet taken to buy something later. Its value lies in providing you with options, flexibility, and growth. But our culture is designed to make us hate wealth and love spending. We see people living rich lives, and we think that's what wealth looks like. It's the opposite. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. If you want to be a master of your own fate, you have to kill the part of you that craves the approval of strangers. We love the story of the genius investor, the guy who sees the crash coming, the woman who picks the next apple in her garage. But look at Warren Buffett. Most of his wealth was acquired after his 65th birthday. His secret isn't just that he's a good investor. It's that he's been a good investor for 80 years. Compounding is like a forest. You don't notice the trees growing day by day. You only notice the forest after 30 years. But we are wired for the hunt. We want the kill. We want the 10x return today. When you try to go fast, you create friction. When you create friction, you create risk. The single most important factor in your financial life isn't your returns. It's your endurance. It's your ability to stay in the game without being forced to quit. It's about being undisruptible. You don't need to be amazing. You just need to be not terrible for a very, very long time. Good enough for long enough is the ultimate superpower. But staying wealthy requires a completely different mindset than getting wealthy. Getting wealthy requires risk, optimism, and putting yourself out there. Staying wealthy requires the opposite. It requires humility. It requires a touch of paranoia. It requires the realization that a huge part of what you have is due to luck, and luck can be a fickle god. Everything has a price, but not every price is on a tag. Successful investing has a price. It's not measured in dollars. It's measured in volatility, fear, doubt, uncertainty, and regret. These are the invisible costs of the game. Most people try to avoid these costs. They try to find a way to get the returns without the pain. They treat the market like a fine to be avoided rather than a fee to be paid. Think about it. When you go to Disneyland, you pay the ticket price. You don't try to sneak over the fence. You accept that the joy of the rides costs money. Wealth is the same. The fee for long-term growth is the stomach-churning feeling of watching your net worth drop 30% in a month. If you view that drop as a fine for being wrong, you will sell and run. If you view it as a fee for a better future, you will stay. Nothing is free. If you want the prize, you have to be willing to suffer the uncertainty. If you can't handle the psychological cost, you shouldn't be playing the game. In the modern world, your attention is a commodity. There are thousands of people whose entire job is to make you feel inadequate. They want you to feel that you are falling behind. They want you to believe that more is the only answer. This is a war for your sanity. If you don't master your psychology, the world will use it against you. It will use your greed to sell you garbage. It will use your fear to keep you in a job you hate. It will use your ego to keep you broke. The psychology of money isn't a book of tips. It's a survival manual for a world that is designed to drain you dry. You have to decide what your why is. If your why is to prove something to people you don't like, you will never be free. If your why is to buy your own time, then you have a chance. The most important part of any plan is having a plan for when the plan isn't going according to plan. Leave room for error. Leave room for your own humanity. The world is chaotic. Markets are irrational. People are crazy, but you don't have to be. You can choose to step off the treadmill. You can choose to define enough. You can choose to prioritize your own peace of mind over a stranger's opinion. Look at your life. Look at your bank account. Look at your stress levels. Now ask yourself the only question that actually matters. Are you using your money to build a life? Or are you using your life to build your money? The silence follows the answer.